Welcome everyone to day 2 here at the 3D Motion Show. I'm your host, Matthias Omatola, aka Major VFX. We are here in New York, broadcasting live, showcasing how artists from around the world are using Cinema 4D and the rest of the Maxon One suite to create amazing creations. For those of you who don't know, you can join us on 3dmotionshow.com if you're already there, or on the YouTubes and all that. But the good news is, if you go and you click under the player inside 3D Motion Show, there's a place that says sign up, and that's where you can sign up to win some amazing prizes. Next week, we're giving away a Dell laptop as well as a SenseLab tablet, so make sure to register. And if you're here at the show, go ahead and sign up, get your badge scanned, or if you're in Adobe Max, do the same thing, and you'll be entered to win. So, our first presenter, long-time cinema user, showcase some great rigging tutorials as well that I got to go back and study myself. But here, working with some hair, we got Joe Herman. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, everybody, and thanks for coming, everybody here as well as online. Thanks for being here. And as Matthias said, today we're going to take a look at adding hair grooms to a 3D character. And so here's my name is Joe Herman. As Matthias said, I recently did a rigging tutorial online, so in the Maxon training team channel. So it's a 6-part rigging tutorial if you're interested in rigging. I'm an artist and animator here from New York City, and my Twitter and Instagram is here, and my YouTube channel is there. And without further ado, let us just get started. So, we're going to do a simple, just basic cartoony 3D character. I tried to get a mesh that was as simple as possible. We're going to start just with the geometry itself. He's going to look something like that. We're going to be adding hair to the top of his head and the sides of his head, eyebrows, eyelashes, and a mustache. Okay, and basically the hairstyle is going to be sort of right down the middle with sort of longer at the top, brushed back in sides. It helps if you've gone to beauty school or something, but I haven't, but I'm learning. You know, I might start picking it up actually, make some extra money. But you can see it sort of shag on the sides a little bit, and here we're going around the hair. And we're going to use Redshift to actually create the hair shader. Redshift has a principled hair shader in it, which is very cool, actually. So we're going to look at that, and you can see what it's done is, aside from doing the hair itself, you can see that you can give it little stray, in this case, gray hair. So he's got a touch of gray, he's a little bit of an older character. So that's very cool. Here's the back of his hair. And we're going to take a look on how to stylize. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to give this simple, cartoony 3D character some hair. So, to start off with, what we're going to do is we are going to start off with the simple mesh. And what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a density map. And a density map is going to be a grayscale map that's going to tell where the hair should grow on the eyebrows, on the hair, on the mustache, and where the hair should not grow. Now, we're going to make this density map by painting it onto the character using Cinema 4D's painting tools. Now, in order to paint anything, though, you have to have some useful UV maps to paint. So let's take a look at what his UV maps are. And as you can see, they're a mess, so we're not going to get any good painting right here. So we need to quickly fix that, and then we can start painting. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose select the path selection tool, and we're just going to simply create a seam down the back of his head. Okay, and then we'll go to like a front view, and we'll do a frontal UV projection, and then we'll do a quick UV unwrapping, and we've got some decent UVs like that. You see, UVs aren't hard, actually. But anyway, the thing is that what we're going to do is, now that we have some decent UVs here, we are going to, there's a little bit of a problem where some of the UVs are kind of overlapping each other here. So we're just simply going to go ahead and choose, we're going to select some of these, these overlapping UVs here. And we're just going to go under where it says relax UV, and we're going to hit apply, and now they don't overlap anymore. So now that that we've got that, now we're ready to paint some stuff onto our character. We're ready to start painting this density map. So we're going to switch to the paint layout. So we're going to go to the paint layout, okay? And we're going to choose our, I'm going to switch to my tablet here because it's easier to paint with a tablet. And we're going to choose the brush tool. And we can't paint anything yet. And that's because we haven't created the texture map that we're going to paint on yet. So there's two ways to do it. There's like the manual way, and then there's the automatic way, which is easier, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on this little wizard right here, if you can see that right here, and it's going to tell us, and we're going to say, okay, let's deselect all of these objects, and we're going to click on just the head start object, which is just this object right here, and we're going to click next. And actually, sometimes this is checked, recalculate UVs. You want to uncheck that because we just made our UVs. We don't need to recalculate them again. So we're going to click next. And we're going to, what kind of map we want to create. And unfortunately, there's not one for hair density, so we're just going to make it on the color map. And we're going to choose a white color. That's what our base color is going to be. And we're going to make it 2K texture square. Okay? So we're going to hit finish, close, and a few things happened. First of all, you notice that a little material got made here, this little matte material, which you could rename if you want and call it like hair density or something like that if you just want to do that. Hair, I'll just call it hair D. And then over here you see that you have a little texture map that you've created, and that's the texture map we're going to be working with right now. And now of course we can go ahead and we can, paint whatever we want on our character because we've done the UVs, and we can do whatever we want here. And then you can see that this is the texture, if we click over here, that we're painting on. This is that texture we made. But we're not going to want to create a little smiley face. We want to go ahead and create this hair density map. So what we're going to do is we need to actually that brush was a little thin, so let's just use a 10 for now. And we'll lower the spacing, let's say to 5. And the thing is that what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to define the hairline, okay, of where this character is going to have hair. So I'm going to just sort of roughly do it, because the way that it works is that you tell the hair to grow on polygons, but these polygons are big. So we want this this density map to go through it and sort of like, go ahead and decide where we want. We're sort of telling it, no, don't go to the edge of the polygon, go to sort of this, edge of the hair. We're going to come around here, okay, and we're going to, whatever, come down to here and tell it where we want this hairline to be. So we're going to go like up around here. And then once that's done, you could switch to like a bigger brush or some of the other tools, and you could start filling this in, okay? Now, if you make a mistake, whatever, you go off. If you hold down the control key, you could just pick up white, and fix it, whatever, fix this line or whatever, and then, go back and pick that up and fix it. Now, I'm actually not going to do the whole thing right now because it'd just be a sort of a waste of time, so I've got it somewhere else. So I'm going to move on to different parts of the hair. By the way, if you want, you can actually switch to the texture mode view, and you can paint that here as well. Okay, so you could do that too. Okay, so the thing is, we're going to go back to the 3D view. Okay, and the next thing I want to paint is let's go back to like a 10 brush. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and let's, for example, go ahead and paint some eyebrows. Ooh, that's a big eyebrow, but whatever. Okay, and we'll paint some eyebrows like that. Oops, this is a real mess here, so I'm just going to fix that up a little bit. But I'm not really going to care too much because I'm actually not going to use this one. I'm actually going to use another one that I already made before, so I'm just showing you how to make it. But you would make an eyebrow there. Okay, spend your time to do it right and you know, nicely. So, and then there's the other eyebrow on this side. Okay, and now for the eyelashes. Okay, as I said before, hair grows from polygons. So obviously I want to use these polygons to grow the hair from, right? Because that's where the hair is going to grow. But I'm not going to use these polygons, okay? So really what it is that this edge I can be sloppy on. It doesn't really matter because there's not going to be hair. But this edge, I just want to tell it, okay, I want to grow the hair from the edge of that polygon. Okay, so I'm coming around here and I'm telling it, but I'm not worried about the other edge. But the inside edge, you know, you can be more careful about, okay, because that's what's going to generate the hair. Okay, so, you know, you go around in the privacy of your own home, you can do this, or your own office or whatever, you could do that a little bit better. And then you would go ahead and do the other eye, okay? So now for the mustache, once again, this edge is going to be important because that's going to sort of just define the edge of the mustache, okay? And but these over here are not important, okay? Because you're not going to grow hair from there, and you're going to go ahead and, you know, do it. I'm actually going to use this polygon in there inside of the nose as well, and it's only going to be that polygon so I can be a little bit messy. It doesn't matter. And then I'd go ahead and you know, fill that in. And okay, so once you have your map done, okay, what you're going to do is then you want to invert your map, because actually the way that the density map works is that whatever's white lets hair grow and whatever's black doesn't. So we're just going to go into the tools menu filter menu, and we're going to choose invert, and then we would invert our map. Okay. So then when you click save, what happens if I were to save, I'm going to save this as like 1A, let's say. It's going to ask you, do you want to save changes to the textures of this project, right? So we're going to say yes. And then if we open up this folder and we look in the text thing, we can see actually this is the one we just created. I happen to have some other ones in there. But if we see over here, we could see that, you know, it's going to look something like that. But I've already created one, and it looks like this. Okay, so, and now it's ready to go. This is the density map that I'm going to use. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is actually I have a file that's already set up, okay, for that, and here it is. So this is all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the objects menu. I'm going to take off the density map because I'm going to use it later now that I've created it. And I'm just going to drag on a oh, actually, let me go back to the standard layout, and I'm going to drag on a little skin shader that I made, which is, I'm not going to get into how we're going to make, I made it, but it's just a little bit of a color map to add some rosiness to the cheeks, a bump map to add a little bump to the face, and also, and this is a Redshift material, and a little subdivision surface just to give a little glow to the skin, and there we have it. It also has a little bit of lighting. There's like a a Redshift dome light, which has a HDRI, which looks something like this. It's just a room, okay, and which is lighting up the scene, as well as, actually, let me hide that, and as well as like a little rim light, which you see above the head, which is just to add some light to the back of the hair. So that's what we're starting with. If I bring up our Redshift tag, it's going to look, something like that. So now that that's done, we're ready to start making some hair. Okay. So the way that it works is that you have to make you have to select some polygons where where you want your hair to grow. So the thing is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, go to my polygon mode, and I'm going to select some polygons. Now I can go ahead and select one huge group of polygons. It depends on the hairstyle you're doing. Okay, so if you want, you can go ahead and select all the polygons you want the hair to go to be onto. Okay, but in this case, since this is kind of like a hairstyle, if we look back at the renders, okay, you can see that the hairstyle is kind of like parted down the middle. So it might be better if we actually, break up the polygons to different, groups of polygons. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select, let's say, these polygons and add our first group of hair to that. So we're going to choose that. We're going to go into the simulate menu. We're going to say add hair, and a few things happen. A hair object gets created, a polygon selection gets created with those polygons in it, okay, and this hair material gets selected. Okay, so the thing is that if I double click the polygon selection, I could just name it top right polys if I want. Okay, and then for the hair object, I'll just call it top right hair. And then, for the hair material, I'll just call it my hair. So you can see that on the hair object, it's using the top right polys selection tag, okay? So the other thing that happened is I have these huge guides, and these guides are too big, okay? So what I want to do is I want to choose the hair over here, and I want to make it the first thing I want to do is I just want to make the length of it a lot less, okay? And now what I'm going to do is if I were to go ahead and if I were just to render this hair, it's going to look pretty awful, okay? So if I just hit render view, if I hit render like this, okay, it's going to just look like, first of all, the hair is too big. So, so the other thing I'm going to do, by the way, is on the viewport, you can, instead of showing guidelines in the viewport, you could say show hairlines over here, and that kind of helps you when you don't have the Redshift open. But on the hairs, I have 50,000 hairs. I'm going to lower that to about 20,000 on that side. And you can see what's happening is the first thing that the problem is that the hair is too thick. And the way you control the thickness of the hair, it kind of looks like spikes there. So the way you control the thickness of the hair is in this material tab. So I'm going to double click this. Okay, I'm going to go to the thickness area, and I'm going to type in 0.03 centimeters at the root, and at the tip I'm going to go 0.01 centimeters at the tip, and now the hair is already a lot thinner. The other thing I'm going to do that's useful, that I always do, or most of the times do, is I'm going to click on the length thing right here, and what's going to happen is that this is going to vary the length of the hair, okay, at the end, so that they're not all ending at the same place. There's like a little variation there. The other thing that's very important is frizz. Okay, so we're going to add a little frizz to the hair, which is going to make the hair a little bit more unruly, which is natural. And I actually usually like to make this curve, instead of an S curve, I like to make it kind of like a linear movement on that. And then there's something else here, it's called the clump. And this is actually very useful in getting some nice hair to do, because if I click clump, Okay, what that does, I'm going to up it a lot so you can see what's going on. I'm going to up it to like 50% right here. Okay, you can see that it starts making the hair clump together. Okay, so I mean, if I were to go 100%, then you know it's going to look like spike hair. You know, so if you want to do that, but we're going to do around 30%. It's going to give it a certain look. Okay, there are other hair things, you know, other hair effects that you can do over here, but I'm not going to do those because you could fool around with those on your own. But these actually are the most commonly, these are like my go-to ones right here. So now that that's done, okay, I'm actually going to hide actually in the hair. I'm going to hide from the viewport. I'm going to hide the hairlines, go back to guidelines, right? And we're going to go to like a front view. Okay, and we're going to move into, let me hide this camera, okay, and we're going to move into kind of like the groom layout in Cinema 4D. Okay, so there's a groom layout here. So we're going to go to the groom layout. When we go to the groom layout, you'll notice that we've got like some really important grooming tools, okay, in the hair. So, and probably the most important one is this one right here. It's the brush tool. So we're going to get a little bit bigger of a brush. Actually, we'll go to like a 66%. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit bigger. And the way that it works is like you could go to like a guide mode here, and then you could sort of like brush the hair like from the center of the guides like that. Okay, or you could leave it on this tip mode. Okay, and this tip mode is very useful because it lets you sort of like brush these things from the tips of the hair. Okay, so we can sort of like go there. Now, the thing is that, you know, we would go ahead and move around and sort of like, there's another one here that's really useful. This is like the cut tool. So the ones in the back are a little bit too long, so we're going to cut them down to about here. Okay, and this one too. And then we're going to have this one a little bit less big and this one a little bit less big. And as well as this one. So as the hairs go towards the back of the hair, they're going to get a little bit shorter. Okay? And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do things like we're going to brush it back because it's kind of going to have like a backward motion to the hair, you know, like that. These can, like this one can come down. Now, sometimes when you're brushing the hair, you catch two and you might not want that. So what you could do is select a hair guide, and in the brush tool, you can go ahead and you could say select it only. And then if you get two, oh. Let's see. Select it only, right. So now if you know you're doing two, but only one is catching. So we're gonna go ahead, we're quickly going to like brush this hair a little bit, you know, like the way that we want it to be. Let me take off that selected only, okay, and brush this down, okay, like that, and you know, this is going to come back, and we're going to brush this one back, and this one, and this one can sort of, no, okay, this one can come back as well. Oops, made the brush too big. Okay, this will come more back to the side and back like that. Down a little bit and back. And down a little bit and back, something like that. Okay, so now we've got, you know, we've done this side of the hair. Let's actually go ahead and bring up our Redshift render thing, because what we want to do now, let's actually render this. And what we want to do now is we kind of want to talk about coloring the hair. Okay? So Redshift now has a new node in it. It's actually not that new. So we're going to make a Redshift standard material. We're going to open it up to its nodes. We're going to get rid of the standard node, so we only have the output node. And we're going to create a principled hair node, okay? Principled. If you type in hair, there's two nodes. One of them is the old legacy hair node, but we're going to use this principled hair node, okay? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to, let me make this a little bit bigger. We're going to pipe that in there, okay? And what's going to happen is that it's going to be kind of like this dark reddish. Oh, actually, I have to add that to my hair now. So that it's sort of going to be this dark reddish brown. But I want him to get like more like a strawberry blonde, kind of like, you know, like more of a strawberry blonde hair. So the way that that's done in this new node, there's two ways. I can actually go ahead and in the principled hair node, I can actually just choose the color of my hair, okay? Or I could use this other way, which is more scientifically correct, right? I'm actually going to make hair that looks like yours, actually. But it's called the melanin method. And the way that it works is that the more melanin your hair has, the darker it gets, the more brunette it becomes, okay? Until you put all melanin up there, and then you're going to have black hair, okay? So we're going to lower the melanin down to about, I don't know, right here. It's going to, the more we slide it to the left, the blonder the hair is going to get, okay? So we're going to slide that. Then there's what's called the reddish, the melanin redness. So if you want like a strawberry blonde or a reddish blonde, you leave the melanin, the redness up. But I'm going to, you know, the more you go down, the more like a platinum blonde you'll get, okay? So we're going to get somewhere along this thing. Now, the thing is, what I also want to do is I want to go into the variation here, and I want to vary the melanin a little bit so you have like, you know, a little, a touch of variation in the color, okay? As well as there's something here, it's called the stray hair fraction, okay? So if I were to choose a color for the stray hair, let's say a little bit of a silvery color, okay? And if I were to up the stray hair fraction a little bit, like to here or something like that, what'll happen is you'll notice that, oops, in the hair, you'll see that there's some gray hairs in there. As we wait, this will get better and better, but you'll see that there's a little gray hair in there as well. So we're making a little, he's going to have a little touch of gray in there. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm actually going to open up the next file in this thing. Okay. Oh, it's already open? Oh, I've got to go to number 3. So this one is basically the guy, and he's got, I just did the same thing what I did on the right side of his hair to the left side of his hair. And so now what I want to do is I want to create the back and sides. If I want, I can actually create 2 groups, one for the sides and one for the back, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to hide the top and left hair, okay, and I'm going to go into the polygon mode, okay, and I'm going to go to my standard layout, and I'm going to just go ahead and choose for the sides and the back. Oops, I have that on, so I'm going to turn that off. And we're going to go ahead and choose these polygons, okay, and we're going to go ahead and go choose in the simulate menu. We're going to add a hair object, and there it is, okay? And obviously, this created a lot of guides, okay? So you can actually get rid of some guides, but I'm going to leave them right now because what the heck. And I'll call this back and sides. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go to my guides, and I'm going to make them about 5 long, so they're fine like that. Now, what's cool about this is that since there's hair on both sides of the character, okay, if I go to like a top type of view over here, and if I choose my, let's go into the groom layout, and if I choose my brush here, okay, if I start grooming this, I want you to notice that the other side is starting to get groomed too, okay? So the thing is that I can actually go ahead and start grooming that back like that. And it's happening. And the reason that that's happening is because I have this checked on right here, and this is called hair symmetry. Okay, so I've got the hair symmetry on. Okay, and I can sort of like, you know, go to another side view. I can start grooming back the back of the hair. Okay, like that, and then I can go ahead and figure this out. Now, what would be nice would be to see my other hair as I'm grooming this hair. But if I were to turn on my other hair, you see it looks, well, actually, if I were to turn off the hair line, so I'm just seeing the guidelines, and I click over here, it looks black and it's hard to see what the difference is. So if I choose these two here and I go under basic display color, and if I choose like a red color, let's say, okay, and then I were to click on that, now I can sort of see the other ones as red. Okay, so that can be useful. So now I can go ahead and I can just simply, you know, move these down. Now on these here, I kind of like would like them a little under the other ones. So, you know, I kind of tuck them in a little bit. So that way they're a little bit under. Oops. Like that. So we tuck that in, tuck this in, tuck these in, and more or less, you know, we have it. So I'm not going to spend a year on this, but you know, you could also go ahead and cut some of these. So if you want them a little shorter over here, you can cut them a little shorter there. If you want a little shorter on the bottom, maybe this one goes a little shorter, this one goes a little shorter, and we would go ahead and groom. Oops. Groom this hair sort of the way that we would like it to be around our character. So it's going to look something like this. You know, you can fix it, you know, and fuss with it to your heart's content. We don't have a lot of time right now. But if I were to do a render of this now, what we would do is we would take a look at the render view, and we would kick off a render. And as you can see, what's happening is that, oh, and then we want to delete that hair material and use the same one that we used for the top hair, actually. So we would do something like this. So now we have that. So now, as you can see, it's going right up to that edge of polygons, okay? And we don't want that. We want to have that hairline that we defined with the density map in the beginning, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and in this hair thing under hairs, we're going to say under growth, under density map, we're going to choose that density map. Okay. And there it is. Okay. So we're going to click that, and then that is going to give us the proper hairline there. Okay. So, and then we're going to go ahead and choose that hair material and drag it on there. And now we've got the back. So we've got the top and the back. Okay. So now for the eyebrows, okay? So for the eyebrows, what we're going to do is we're going to choose the polygons we want. How are we doing? Okay. We're going to choose the polygons we want, which is we're going to go to the standard menu layout. Okay. Oops. So we're going to grow on these. Oops. We're going to grow on those. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a hair object. Okay, you could name these. We'll name these brows. Okay, and we'll make it like a lot smaller. We'll make it like 1 centimeter. Okay, now we've got a lot of hairs here. Now if I choose like for example, the hairlines. Well, actually, we got a lot of guides here, and we don't need that many guides. So we're just going to go into our groom layout, okay? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to select. I'm going to select some of these guides. Like we're going to select these guides. Remember, I have hair symmetry on, and we're going to select these guys, and we're just going to delete them. So we only have the guides that we're going to need, okay? So, and what we're going to do is we're going to choose the brush tool, okay? And we're going to choose, you know, whatever, a smaller brush, let's say, 30, whatever. And we're going to start, you know, grooming these things kind of like the way we want them to be groomed. Actually, I want it up, kind of up, so a little bit up like that. And I'll groom this one. Now, and on this one, like, for example, I'll cut it so it's a little shorter here. And so then we have it. So now if we add hair, I mean, if we go ahead and in our browse and we choose like viewport hairlines, okay, you can see that we have like all this hair, like it looks ridiculous, okay? So the thing is we need to go back to our density map, okay? So, you know, if you want to do like a unibrow thing, you'd include these polygons, you know? But the thing is that, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our hairs under growth, and we're going to choose that density map, that we're going to use, and that's going to stop it. And we also have too many hairs there. We've got 50,000 hairs, you know, so we're going to drop that down to maybe like 3,000 hairs, okay? And so what we're going to do, it's going to look a little thicker when we do it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to delete that hair material, and we are going to choose the top hair material like there. As a matter of fact, this one is too clumpy actually, so we're going to duplicate our top hair material and call it browse. And we're going to make the clumping a little bit less. So maybe, oh, it's only at 20 on the other one? Oh, I wanted it, okay, whatever. So we're gonna make this like, I don't know, 5, let's say. And we'll put that onto our hair. And we'll also, so let's just take a look at what that's gonna look like in our render. Oh, and we have to put the hair material here. Okay. So anyway, that's fine. Okay, if you can fuss around with it later. Okay, let's actually jump to the mustache because we want to do that. So we're going to go into the polygon menu, and we're going to choose the we're going to go to the standard layer. We're going to choose the polygons where we want our head to grow. So it's going to be this one, this one, this one, this one, and these two. Okay, we want to include those two in there as well. And we're going to add a hair object, and we can call that mustache if we want. And oops, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the thing is that, you know, you have like some major mustache action here. You don't want that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to length, and let's say we'll say 5, right? So we're going to bring it in like 5. Now, what I first want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to go to my grooming tab, and the first thing I want to do, now remember I have hair symmetry on over here, okay? So if I start grooming like this, oops, and I'm going to choose the, actually let me turn off on the, oh, it doesn't matter. So if I start grooming this in, the other one on the other side is going to groom. So the ones on the bottom I want to groom in. I mean, I want to cut in. And like, this is going to be a little bit tricky because, well, there, I did it. Okay. So so those I want to groom in like that. And then I want to like, kind of like, you know, brush them down. This one's still a little bit long. So we'll do that. And I want to sort of brush them down a little bit. Like there, and This one can come down like to there. And then we're going to sort of come over here and brush this one down to like there. And then these also actually, the ones coming out of the nostrils, I want to have them small. Like I want them to be about here. Oops, that one's too big. Okay. And I want to sort of brush these kind of like that. Okay. And now the thing is that what I want to do is that on these, I want to bring that down to about here. Something like that. Okay. I can make it a little bit smaller. Okay. And then on this one, something similar. Okay. We're going to bring this down, and it's way over to the wrong side. So it's also too big, so we'll make that smaller to about there. Okay. We'll bring that over and in. Okay. For now, that's good. You can, like I said, we don't have time to fuss with it too much here. And then in the one in the middle, we'll do this. Now, if I were to render this now, however, there's going to be a little bit of a problem. Okay. Wait a second. So if I were to render this now, you're going to notice a little bit of a problem. And that is, so let's actually get a view of it. Let's bring up our render view, okay? And let's just render the mustache. And oops, actually, before I do that, hold on a second. I want to... Looks like I crashed. So that's okay. That's odd. Crash. It's okay. It's okay. I have it saved later anyway. So what I'm going to do is that I've done this a million times and it hasn't crashed. So I don't know what. I think I did something it didn't like. So, but I've really done this. Ran through this like a zillion times and there was been no crashes. So, but anyway, I have it already here. So let's go ahead and let's go to the mustache under the viewport. So we actually were right into this area here. And if I were to render this, okay, this is exactly where we left off. Okay, so if I were to render this right now, you'll notice that there's a strange thing happening with the mustache. Okay, and let's render that. Okay, oops. And you can see that it doesn't look right. There's like a hole in it, right? Or something like that. I mean, it's like there's like missing hair over here, right? So, and the reason that that's doing that is because it's actually interpolating to these short hairs here, okay? And so I can make those hairs longer. That's one way to do it. Or what I could do is I could use another tool, okay? Which is this tool here that we haven't spoken about. It's the Add Guides hair. It's the Add Guides tool, okay? So if I choose the Add Guides tool, right, and if I go ahead to where I want to create another guide right here, okay? So if I hold down the Control key, actually, it's kind of a little bit weird because I have that subdivision surface, but You get it. You need it. You might have to do it a couple of times. And I want to add a guide right, let's say right here as well. Okay. And then I want to add another guide right here, let's say. And then we'll add another guide right here. Okay. So I've added more guides to my thing. And then what I'm going to do is that on this guide, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it shorter. And I'm going to cut this one a little shorter. Okay. Like that. And then I'm going to groom it. Now, the thing is that, oops. So I'm going to groom that hair sort of like over there. That hair guide. Okay. I'll cut this a little bit more. Okay. And then I'll actually got to get in here. You know, grooming is important. You know, it's got to do it right every day. You females are lucky because you don't have to worry about this facial hair stuff. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and that's fine. Okay, so now we've got that. Now if we were now actually something funny is going to happen. If I were to render this, it's going to look weird actually, because if I were to render this now, all of a sudden you're only having one hair where each guide is. Okay, so the reason it does that is when you add hair guides in Cinema 4D, what it does is it for some reason it switches under guides, under the guides tab on the mustache thing. It switches the root to custom, and you need to switch it back to polygon area. If you do that, it's going to be better, and the hair looks better. Okay, I mean you could keep fussing with more guides and stuff, but it looks a lot better than what it did before. Okay, now. Actually, we're going to do the eyelashes, but the eyelashes are, what time do we have? Ooh, it's about 8:50. I mean, the eyelashes more or less use the same, well, we have I'll start doing it anyway. But I'm going to delete this one, actually, and delete, there's a, let's see, which one of these, doesn't really matter. So, for the eyelash, we'll go back to the grooming tab, and we'll go to the selection, actually back to the standard layout, and we'll go to the selection thing and bottom lashes. Okay, and so we would once again go ahead and select the eyelashes. There we go. Oh no. Yeah. So we would select the eyelashes here. Okay. And then we'd go ahead, simulate, we'd go ahead and we'd add hair for the eyelashes, and we'll call it eyelashes. And once again, we're going to make those really small, so we'll make those to be about, 1 centimeter. And we would go ahead, and we don't need, how come they didn't come on the top? Oh. Did I not select those? I selected those, didn't I? So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and do it again. Let's take this off. Okay, so there we go. And we're going to make this 1 centimeter. And so, oh. What? Yeah, no, but it's on the bottom, but it's not on the top. Let me just see why some of these other ones maybe. bottom. Huh. Well, we'll try it one more time. So I'm not dreaming, right? I definitely selected those polygons, right? So we're going to select these now. What's this thing? Oh, that's the, okay, so let me get rid of that. All right, so I have those polygons selected, okay? You know, I could actually select, I could actually save this. I could say save selection, store selection. So I made it, I actually made the polygon first. You could do that, okay? And then I can go ahead and add the hair object. And now it's right. Okay, so now it's right because but anyway, so who knows why it was doing that. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead one, right? So now, ooh, look, it did it all on the side. That's because for some reason it selected all of these on the side. So I guess I had like the visible only not checked or something, you know. So select store selection hair. Let's drag this one in. Okay. And then why it's still there. Okay, we're just going to do this one more time. Okay, simulate, hair objects, add hair. And there it is. There's no other polygons being selected, okay? So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to say like one here. We're going to delete all the inside guides. Okay, groom. We're going to select all these inside guides. Okay, and delete them because we don't need them. Okay, and we're going to say, we're going to add hair, simulate, hair selection. Wait, what was I doing? Oh yeah, we're going to say hair object, add hair. So what's happening, oh my goodness, this is so weird. Well, okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to fight this anymore. Close project. I have a feeling what's happening is that I had opened up a file before that already had the hair eyelashes in it, and it's just confused it somehow. But what's happening is that here's what it would look like, okay? But the thing is that you notice that in the hair, let's see on the actually in this one I broke it down into bottom lashes and top lashes, but actually later on I was just going to do one, doesn't matter. But in this one here, that if you can see here, if I were there, I only did like 300 hairs because you don't have to have a zillion hairs for the eyelashes, right? But let me up this anyway to 1,000 hairs anyway. And then in here under hairs, under growth, there's this hair density map, right? Because if I didn't have this hair density map in it, see then now the hair, well, it should. Well, if you didn't have the hair density map, these hairs would be growing all over that polygon, okay? But with the hair density, you know, in the right way, then it only grows along the edge, okay? Which is very useful. So that's about it. And then basically we'll just take a look one more time at the renders. Basically, as you can see, ooh, that, not that, but so you can see that that's sort of the way that it's going to look. And obviously this is just a simple type of thing. You spend some time, you can get some, you know, really nice. On the hair density map, if you use shades of gray, you could, you know, instead of black and white, you could sort of gradate the amount of hairs that you want to have. And that's it. And that's about it. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Joe Herman, everyone.
Thanks.
Well, you know what? There were a number of questions, but you literally just answered them
Okay.
as we went on. Someone was asking about the density map. If you use
Yeah.
gray,
Yes.
if that actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
if that actually worked out
Yep.
as far as thinning the hair or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. So you could get like, you could have it go to like a 5 o'clock shadow and get.
So you can use gradients.
Yes.
and-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the one. The other one was on symmetry, but you nailed that as
Right.
well.
Right.
And one question we did have is, can you extend the hair just like you cut it?
Yes. So if you want to extend the hair, I'll just quickly show that. So if, like, for example, if you have a guide that, let's just say on the top hair, let's get rid of the viewport hairlines. We'll go back to guidelines. And so let's say, for example, for whatever reason you want a hair to be longer, so you could select that hair, like let's say we select this hair, and then you can actually just go to the scale tool and simply scale it out.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you use it like the cut tool? Just
That's a good question, actually.
is
You
there
probably,
an inverse operation or?
not that I know of, actually, but yeah,
So just
I don't
scale
know.
it and
There might
position
be,
it. There
but
might be.
I'd never use
Yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah.
that's it. I was just wondering
Yeah.
if there's hotkey operations
Yeah.
between the.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure unless any of you guys know.
All right, so that's that one, and then let's see here. If you update the density map, save it, and then refresh the scene, how will you see an update? How I guess.
Yeah,
how
you
quickly?
should just, well, I mean, we could try it. I mean, the thing is, if we go to the density map, I don't know if you have Photoshop or whatever. Oh, we could actually, it'd be a whole thing, but
Yeah.
if you should just be able to see it, because like I could just switch it. Let's say we'll switch the density map to one of those other density maps. Let's say we'll go to the top hair left, and we'll switch it to that, the other one that I saved, like this one, let's say. Okay. And now, it doesn't seem to be updating right away unless that's the left side. Hold on. So let me try to let's try to save this. Save as. Let's just make sure it's working. And close it, and open it. Just see if it's taking it. Oh, oh, there it is. Oh, so maybe it was. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it on the other side and see if it. Yeah, it's automatic.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Automatic.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Question from the audience, Jay.
Yes.
What do you got?
I was wondering how the guidelines work in terms of what hair they control. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's like very few compared to the density of the
Right.
hair. So is it like decide how many guides?
Like what region is affected by it? Yeah, so the question is, with the guides being shown, how do you determine the area or the amount of hair? Like, is there a radius that it's affecting? or-
Yeah, there's a lot of controls in here. Obviously, we didn't have time to like go through it, but there's a ton of controls like that. But there's also hair clones you could do. So there's hairs and hair clones. But the thing is that, let me go back to the regular density map. So obviously the way that it works is that if we go to the to this and we move this, you'll see the hairs being interpolated, because they get like all the hairs near this one's going to influence it more than this one, which is going to influence the ones around it, so on and so forth. So as far as the way that it works is that interpolation, let's see, you've got cloning, but as far as offset, there's like a lot of controls in here you can use to control how much
as far as
influence.
types.
Yeah, the interpolation type. Yeah, linear, square, cubic.
So is it kind of like a weight map?
It's like weights. It's like the closer the hair gets to that guide, the more it's going to be influenced by that guide. The closer, and then as it moves to the other guide, then that other guide's going to influence it more.
And determining on the interpolation is how much it's weighted,
Yes,
or
exactly.
the style of how it's weighted.
Exactly.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. All right, we're going to get ready for our next presenter here. Let's give Joe another round of applause. So thank you so much.
Thank you very
and
much.
once again, if you haven't got your badge scanned, get your badge scanned. You get your chance to win a Dell laptop or a SenseLab tablet next week. So make sure you've done that. And if not, and you're online, you're watching online, just go to 3dmotionshow.com, click sign up, and then enter your chance to win. And we'll be back in just a few moments with our next presenter, Brad Nichols.